Welcome to Realty Real Talk. I'm Ashley Borney, realtor with Coldwell Banker NHS Real Estate and commercial realtor with NHS Commercial. Here's my lovely co-host, Deanne.
Yeah, hi, I'm Deanne Roundy, and I'm with Coldwell Banker NHS Real Estate and NHS Commercial as well. We welcome you. We have some great guests today we're really excited about. So we have both Ashley Jantz and Brian Kays from the Heartland Realty Group out of Omaha, Nebraska. They are what we have determined is the number one real estate team in all of Nebraska in Coldwell Banker. So congratulations on that, you guys. And so we're excited to be able to hear some great information from you guys about the home buying process. So Brian Kays, initially you're from Valley, Nebraska?
Valley, Nebraska, born and raised, small town just outside of Omaha, but moved to Omaha to go to UNO and have been a realtor now for 12 years.
Wow. Yeah. And Ashley now is in Nebraska, but not originally.
Nope. My family moved from Kansas in 2010, and we started out near Wichita, and we've been in Bellevue since we got here in 2010. We recently just moved to Papillion, but we're only in Papillion by like 4 blocks.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So we're super excited to have you guys today. And so if you want to buy a house and you don't know what to do, these guys are going to answer your question. So we're excited here. Okay. So we have someone who's listening and they're saying, okay, I want to buy a house. I've never done it before. Or maybe I have a house. I've done it before, but maybe the first process wasn't great, or maybe it was a little bit, different, and they want to start doing it a little bit, maybe a little bit more savvy, a little bit more information. So let's hear from you guys on the home buying process.
Ashley, here's what I would say is, so somebody wants to buy a home. Mm-hmm. I think there's some debate out there on what the first step should be. What do you think the very first step should be?
I think the first step that any buyer should take is to find a realtor that they love, primarily because that realtor has way more experience with different lenders than you as a buyer might, so they can make some really awesome recommendations given the buyer's circumstance or situation. They can offer a lender that might have programs that are unique to them that will benefit them. So I think you should find a realtor first.
What do you think,
So,
Brian? What do you think?
I think there's this debate out there that it's, do you get pre-qualified with a mortgage lender first, or do you go or do you contact a realtor directly? Mm-hmm. And there's some people will say that, well, no, actually we start online, which is mostly everybody, which, let's just skip over that. You probably have been looking. Everybody Googles, everybody says, hey, Alexa, what house, show me houses for sale or something like that. But I've been involved in several transactions that start at either point, mm-hmm. whether it's they called me first, maybe they called somebody else first, then they called me second. It happens. Or they contacted a mortgage lender first, mm-hmm. or went online, tried to find out where they were at budget-wise and things of that nature. And then when they call me and I ask those questions of them, they already had answers to those. Yep. And we were able to kind of get started right away and hit the ground running. They might have been pre-approved, right? Do you show houses before you get a pre-approval?
No, Brian, I do not.
For everybody out there, please, it makes it so much better if you have that, at least and there's a difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. So just know that, but that's something we can help with if they call us first, right? And explain that. But
it sounds like what people should start with is a trusted professional, right? So whether it's a trusted professional they have in lending, and they have a mortgage lender they really trust, or they have a real estate agent they really trust, because that person will most likely have a network of other trusted professionals.
Agreed.
So it sounds like you can go either way. And so even there's a debate, it's probably a good debate, right? Because it's who do they trust?
Yeah. Right? For the purposes of this, I would say call the realtor first.
We're not biased. That's great advice, right?
That is good advice.
When we have a mortgage lender on the podcast, maybe we'll edit
we
that.
might
make sure that we say, hey, contact so-and-so. Yeah. But it just is one of those things that, have you had experiences where you've had a call or somebody, even you're just talking to somebody, you're out and about and you run into somebody and they know I happen to have something on the back of my car. So I actually get people who say at like volleyball tournaments or soccer tournaments or any kind of music program, they were like, oh yeah, you have, I recognize you, your name and your phone number's on the back of your car
And your picture.
Face, and your picture. I think about buying. What should I do? Be like, well, you're talking to me first. So.
Yeah.
But have you had something go horribly? I can't think of one time where it's gone horribly wrong with one of those two first steps being taken care of.
Yeah. Never had a time where it's gone horribly wrong. It can only go horribly right when you're not a process horribly right. If you're already pre-approved, then obviously any professional real estate agent is going to be able to work with your lender. And they may still suggest that you talk to another lender just to compare rates or fees, personalities. You may just get along with someone differently. And so they may still make that recommendation, but at the end of the day, buyer's choice. They get to choose who they want to work with. Yeah.
I agree.
So
let's make sure and put that out there that whatever the client wants us to do, that's what we
So
do.
let's say
for you.
so the buyer now has their lender, they have a pre-approval letter, they have their trusted real estate agent, which is probably a Coldwell Banker real estate agent, let's just say. So if that's the case, then what would be the next step after that?
I think after it could have happened before their pre-approval, or it could now happen after, where you sit down with your agent and we go through a brief timeline of what the process is going to look like. We try to educate you beforehand so that you know what to expect before we even go to that first showing. I would prefer to review even the contract with them pretty early on so that when it comes time to write the contract, it's not scary and overwhelming, because the market is still moving quickly enough that we don't have a lot of time to wait. Often buyers are seeing a house and within 12 hours, they're writing and submitting an offer. So when possible, I like to have as much of that conversation ahead of time so that they feel secure in their decision and understanding of the paperwork. So I might sit down, review the paperwork, the contract with them, talk about terms. Do you want a home inspection? What's important to you in terms of finishes on the house? Do you need a certain number of bedrooms? And then from there, we set up a home search, and then we go.
I kind of hit the same thing. I usually start off, most people like to talk about what they're looking for. You hit that right at the end there as wants and needs. So that's how I classify them as, hey, what do you need? What do we really absolutely have to have in the house? Do you have to be in a certain school district? Do you have to be within a certain distance of work or something to that effect? Or there could be a special needs case where they really are going back and forth to, say, a certain hospital or something to that effect quite a bit, or another family member that they want to be moved closer to because they're helping take care of that person. I've run into all of those. So I make sure to go over their needs first, because I then have a conversation of, okay, well, we have those down. What do you want then besides that? Do you want a pool? But is that really a need, right? Do you want 80 acres?
A heated
garage.
I'm
Those
curious
sorts of things,
because, and I don't know, maybe people that are listening will be curious to know from the realtor or the real estate agent point of view, when you have that initial meeting with a client and they tell you their needs and their wants, I guess, what is the percentage or the amount of time that they actually get what they said they wanted? Or do you see them through the process all of a sudden get something they never said they wanted in the first place? I mean, how often does that happen?
Split level versus ranch. I don't want to split, and then they buy a split level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it happens. I don't know if I could put a quantity on it.
I've never measured it.
Yeah.
I would
but it
say
does happen.
It organically changes, especially when you start going out and looking at houses. I mean, you guys know this. When you start, and they're like, oh, I thought I liked that, but I really don't. I don't like, and we run into, especially depending on new construction versus existing homes. That sort of stuff.
Sometimes your budget determines some of those factors too.
Location.
I'm dealing with a client right now that they really do not want a split entry home just because of the ease of bringing kids in and out of the house. And within their budget, finding something that's not a split entry is becoming increasingly difficult. And so it's like, well, if you want more opportunity to buy, you might have to reconsider that. Or we just have to be super patient, which I am, so that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's where I would probably, I don't know if you could say, if I answer your question in a different manner, I do have the conversation with my clients of, there's your needs, here's your wants. Hey, we're gonna find something that has every one of your needs for sure. We're gonna hit 100% because those are a must-haves. But if we get to find a house that has 8 of your 10 wants, you should probably write an offer on it, because I doubt there's a 10 out of 10.
I would think that would make a real estate agent's job very challenging, though.
Mhm.
When you have a client that says, "Here's my non-negotiables," right? And
it
you
does.
go through the process, and all of a sudden, the initial search you set them up with has completely
Here,
changed,
one
right?
result.
To the time they actually close on the house.
Yes.
But the end result, though, I know for every real estate agent is make sure your client's happy.
Yep.
And that they get the
That's
house. And I think a lot of it is making sure your client's excited, right, for closing
Yes.
day. You want a
Yes.
client that's going to be really excited to close.
Yeah.
Right.
But
But to
that's-
get to that point, I guess, what would be the next step? From there?
What's nice is that we have some tools available to us now. We can set up, the searches, and then they are able to actually change them nowadays. Like before, it was, I've been a realtor 12 years. I've just heard these stories, never actually had to do it. But it used to be a folder, a 3-ring binder,
Oh,
or
yeah.
a 4-ring binder that realtors would flip through
Yeah.
with like one picture, and technology has gotten so great in regards to that you can send them a link that takes them to a landing page that they can change the search engine if they want, if they start to figure out, right? Have you had
Yeah.
somebody do that and had some?
They've updated things, yeah.
Yes, it works out really well. And I think that's key. Then you get them excited where they're looking at all the pretty stuff and all the pretty pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, talking about the home buying process, right, and kind of getting them to that closing point, is there anything within that process? And we kind of talked about getting them set up on the search, showing them the houses. And then, of course, I think one of the most important things of a real estate agent is, really looking at the contract and, getting to make sure that they are really prepared to make sure they're ready for closing. Is there any other steps within that you guys have seen that are pivotal to them having a successful close?
Well, just within the contract period, you've also got inspection, due diligence time. So a buyer can choose or not choose to have a home inspection, but I was just telling someone the other day, there is a whole slurry of inspections that you could choose to pay to have done. Typically, just a whole house inspection where someone comes out, looks everything over with a fine-tooth comb and gives you a summary of things that are defective or need fixed. But you could also have the house tested for the presence of radon gas. You can have mold. You can have it tested for the presence of mold. You can have the sewer scope to make sure the lines are good. Traditionally, we only see people do home inspections and maybe 50-50 a radon test also done. And then sometimes it's a follow-up. The home inspector says, your pipes are running slow. I would really suggest a sewer scope. And then we make that decision. So I think that if you have those things done, then that's a really pivotal moment, because there may be things that come back on that home inspection that the seller's unwilling to repair. And then you have to decide, is that a repair I'm willing to take on? Or is that something that makes the house undesirable to me, and you may cancel a contract?
Make or break.
I've only had that happen twice, where we haven't been able to reach some sort of agreeable terms with the seller and we've canceled the contract altogether. But anything's possible. I just think flexibility is always the key for all the parties. Even if a house is listed as is, I've still gotten sellers to make repairs depending on what the repair was, because if we left it as is for 60 days, it would be a much bigger issue if we canceled the contract. So I think having a real estate agent that can work through all of that stuff with you makes a big difference. Yeah.
Especially to kind of hit on something you said earlier, was that the right realtor probably has a network already, and the whole part of someone coming to us is to tap into that network, tap into our experience, and we have to help them, help those clients avoid pitfalls. That's our biggest thing. It's like, they don't do this every day.
Yeah.
We do. We see the contracts every day. We see the, purchase agreements on both sides, right? If we have a listing and we receive a purchase agreement from some other realtor and we read over what they've got, and there could be some extra stuff in there and that they've added in, or when we're submitting an offer, all of that, we do it every single day. Most people buy maybe 2 or 3 houses in their lifetime. Depending on like me, I move every like 3 or 4 years.
Right.
But
Yep.
that's
Just
just
for the
life.
fun of it.
Yeah, that's just his life. But they come to us, and the last time they may have seen a contract was
It was in a
15 years
3-ring
ago.
binder.
Yeah, that's exactly-
Yeah.
15
Even since
years
I
ago.
bought our first home in
Mhm.
Nebraska, the process is entirely different. Everything's electronic now. All the documents are signed
Mhm.
electronically.
Yes.
So it's different even just in the last 13 years.
Yeah.
So
And, the real estate commission changes, and make sure to protect everybody out there, the public. They put in addendums, they add or take out verbiage in the contracts that doesn't make sense anymore.
to
They
create
add
clarity.
in to cover more, and we see those. When does a client or just someone going to their IT position or something like that read that stuff? Never.
what just in the last
Mhm.
18 months, there's been 3 or 4 changes to the purchase contract that the buyer and seller, they're never
Hopefully
aware of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But those agents we have to keep on top of.
Yeah, I think a
Great.
lot of clients see real estate agents as people who can just show houses, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
I
Open
would
the
love to be a
door.
real estate
Here's
agent.
the
I just
door.
want to go show houses,
Yeah.
and they don't realize
That's
there's
my
so much
favorite
that
part.
goes into it. There really is a difference between finding an agent that will just show you a house and finding a trusted real estate professional. And I think, at
Great
Coldwell
point.
Banker, NHS Real Estate here, especially in NHS commercial, we pride ourselves on having agents that are professionals in the market. So we
Yeah.
appreciate you guys being on today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
what's-
thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Um,
Contract
so-
to close.
Yeah,
you got it
contract to
covered.
close. Yeah,
we'll
if you wanna
figure
buy a
that out.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then we'll talk about maybe what do sellers first do?
Yeah,
There's
no,
some, like,
absolutely.
I
There's
literally had
definitely
somebody
more
do something they
episodes
shouldn't
of
have done
this for sure.
before they
Yeah.
contacted me. They
So if
spent-
someone wants to reach you guys to
Mhm.
have you guys sell them their next house, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can start by easiest way would be you can Google Ashley Jantz Real Estate, and I will pop up at the top. Or just heartlandrg.com is our team's website, and we've got contact information on there. We've got a team of 8 agents that are eager and ready to help you buy or sell.
I'll say,
Yeah.
if you don't get along with one of us, you'll get along with one of them for sure.
We
We'll
will find
you something
someone.
somebody that clicks for sure.
Because just like lenders, we all have different personalities, and we
Absolutely.
may not be a good fit for you, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you can Google Brian Kays. I also do new construction. So I have a company called Bold Homes where we do new construction all
Awesome.
over the Omaha metro area. You can
Awesome.
reach out in any way, shape, or form. We'll
Great.
get in touch with you.
Great. Well, thank you for listening
Thanks for
to
having us.
Realty Real Talk.